Well, guys, we did it. We defeated fascism, and we replaced it with surveillance capitalism. Damn it. Welcome to the Tolerant Left. First things first, please support the little guy, like, share, subscribe, whatever you have to do, or maybe it doesn't even matter because they're coming after us and they're coming after us hard, and it's been like this since the left has existed. So, oh well. But a lot of us on the left, we thought that it was funny that Trump got banned from Twitter. And the main reason why was because a lot of Trump supporters were saying this is just like 1984. And we're saying, no, dude, the fact that Trump has got caught lying literally 10,000 times and you guys are still brainwashed by him like he's Big Brother, that's more like 1984. But either way, we thought it was funny, but we also thought, okay, well, Trump getting banned from Twitter just shows us that they can censor us as well. And we're on the left, so they actually, believe it or not, even though, Twitter's PC and cool and with it, Twitter, Google, and Facebook, they don't actually support real leftists because real leftists are generally socialists and anarchists. They're against the technocracy and they're for wealth redistribution or the workers owning the means of production. So despite this guy, I don't even know who this dude is, but Rogan O'Hanley, nice name. Despite what he's saying, if communism comes to America, it will be enforced by the corporations. He has no clue what the fuck he's talking about. So we really can't trust these people for their political analysis because it's garbage. But a reason why we thought Trump getting banned from Twitter was funny, though, is because we got to see people look, r/libertarian meme. Someone posted, as a libertarian, I am extremely worried. I have always feared that the greatest opposition to true freedom was big government. But today, I learned monopolies are just as big of an opposition to freedom as big government is. Fucking scary. Yeah, it's just embarrassing that it literally took the president of the United States being censored by Twitter for you to realize this. You needed to be someone on your team who's a big mascot of stupidity getting censored, and because he insinuated violence, for you to realize that, hey, yeah, government has a lot of power. Trump has a lot of power in some respects too. I mean, look at the idiots at Capitol Hill, but the technological companies have a lot of power. Private industries, in their pursuit of capital, have a lot of fucking power. And censorship is real, and we should be kind of worried about it. So it kind of shows the difference between liberals and leftists. Liberals wanted Trump to get censored. Leftists, yeah, we wanted Trump to get censored, but we ultimately knew that it doesn't matter. It's going to come back to bite us. You know why? Because you can censor conservatives from Facebook and Twitter, whatever you want to do, but they're just going to go on 4chan and be even more radicalized, and they're still going to be able to plan out these terror attacks, but now they're going to be even further ostracized from society, right? They're going to be condensed even more. So that's a point I haven't really seen people bring up, but it's a point I like to make is maybe instead of censoring them, just fucking talk to them. And I know a lot of people are saying they're too gone, they can't be convinced, but look, when you censor them and you ostracize them from society, they're going to be even more radicalized. So you're going to have conservatives going to poll, and now they're becoming fascists. So fuck that. Let's just understand that we can't use the state to censor conservatives, because then conservatives are going to come back and use the state to censor us, and the state is going to, the neoliberals are going to want to censor us. They're going to want to censor Marxists and anarchists for being against the interest of capital. So we got to keep that in mind. But the point of this video is that we are getting censored from Facebook right now. So I did my first video essay ever. Please check it out. It is capitalism versus socialism, Friedman versus Orwell. Check it out. It's fucking awesome. My first shot at a video essay. But anyways, I tried posting it to a group today, and my friend messaged me and said, hey, you accidentally posted this video twice. So I went back to the group. I deleted the video, and then I realized, no, I didn't post it twice. You just misunderstood it. So I reposted it again, so now I had to double post it. And then when I replied to someone's comment on it, it said that I can't actually comment. My account is restricted. I am temporarily restricted from doing things like posting or commenting on groups, pages, or events until January 23rd. So I messaged my friend and was like, yeah, that that was a weird mix up, and now I can't comment for a week or whatever, which is kind of weird. And she's like, no, it might be something else. And then I started seeing a lot of people on my feed were saying, is anyone else having a hard time commenting or posting? So I tried posting in a different group, and it said my account's restricted. So I am temporarily restricted from doing things like posting or commenting in groups. So I tried posting in non-political groups too. Everyone was, reposting this thing. Quantum internet signals beamed between drones a kilometer apart. So I tried saying that. No, can't say it, unable to post comment. But a thing that a lot of people are sharing isn't just about, oh, you can't post in groups until this date, which is suspiciously after the inauguration. They're also restricted from creating events indefinitely, and they're restricted from creating groups indefinitely. So yeah, a lot of people are having this problem right now, and it's only my left-wing friends so far. And somebody took a screenshot of this article, right, from CNN's Brian Fung. Facebook imposes additional special restrictions ahead of inauguration. So basically, Facebook is saying that they will prevent repeat violators of its policies from being able to stream live videos or create new events, groups, or pages on its platform through Inauguration Day. In addition, Facebook is banning the creation of new event pages tied geographically to Washington, D.C. and state capitals, the company announced in a blog post. Okay, so the problem with this, though, is that a repeat violator, one time I made a joke. We were all joking around about something. I made a joke, and then next thing I knew, I was banned from Facebook for doing it. I couldn't do anything for 7 days. So that's not the first time it happened, but I'm a repeat offender, because something that you're saying that's a joke, someone else might not take it as a joke, a moderator or a Facebook admin or whatever. So you're at the mercy of just these arbitrary rules. So in the case of me, the joke I was making was not political at all, but now I can't do anything because I'm a repeat violator. So it's just really arbitrary. So I personally believe that a lot of people that are being limited aren't just repeat violators, or if they are repeat violators, it's because of these silly things that don't matter, because I'm very much against bullying. But the problem is sometimes when you make a joke, Facebook moderators or whoever are the ones that decide if what you're doing is technically harassment or whatever, they don't always know the context of shit. They don't always know what's going on. So a lot of people are now banned from doing stuff, and it has nothing to do with anything that actually matters. Now, it's also saying that they're banning the creation of new event pages tied geographically to Washington, D.C. and state capitals. Sure, that's fine, but I'm in a group right now that has nothing to do with D.C., and the creator of the group has been talking a while about, okay, we need a backup for us to organize outside of Facebook. And this is more of a group focused on co-ops, right? So peaceful, nothing to even do with the election. And I was always kind of like, I get it that the left's being targeted, but I haven't seen this group being targeted yet at all. But there was something in the works about we might be targeted, or people are starting to be targeted. I never saw any evidence of it. And sure enough, a few days later, it's like, okay, yeah, no, we're definitely being targeted. Now I can't even post in that group. And that group has nothing to do with Washington, D.C. or the election. And I'm sure a lot of people are banned from posting in it that aren't even repeat offenders. So it's just kind of a BS thing. But this is the article it comes from, because when I tried to find that article based on that person's screenshot, I couldn't. It was pretty hard to find. But it's buried in a bigger article called The Latest on Biden's Inauguration Security Threats. So for whatever reason, you have to go through this article to find it. When I made a post on Facebook timeline or whatever that, hey, I also can't post in groups. This is weird. This sucks. My friend was like, wait, but you're posting what right now? Are you back on Facebook? I'm like, no, they're not stopping us from posting. They're stopping us from organizing. So that's an important distinction to make. Either way, it sucks, but it's like they're not concerned with us sharing cat memes or even guillotine memes or whatever. They're concerned with us getting in a group like what I do, a group where you're actually organizing with people and saying, hey, who here is from California? Maybe let's get together and let's figure out, what to do with building co-ops to fight capitalism, or, having an anti-fascist defense team, whatever it is. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to get together, and even if you're just getting together and having like a books, a Marxist book study group or whatever, where you critique neoliberalism. They don't want that to happen. Now, they also don't want conservatives and fascists to get together and storm the Capitol, but that's because the FBI they technically have to care about that shit. They absolutely have to, even though they usually side with the conservatives. Their whole job is to fight right-wing extremism. But as we saw with Black Lives Matters and Antifa, they're way more likely to spray us with rubber bullets and tear gas the shit out of us than they are with fucking conservatives straight up storming the Capitol. So it sucks, but it shows us that we can't expand the police state to isolate these conservatives. Because when we do this, we're going to isolate these conservatives even further, and they're actually going to become more reactionary. Because when you put a bunch of conservatives, fascists, and reactionaries together, they all just out-radicalize each other, and it sucks. So we actually need to keep them in the community and try to de-radicalize them that way. And B, and this is the usual point that people make, is that the police state is going to come back around and isolate us or de-incentivize us or fucking throw us in prison or censor us. So what's important to note is that there are already laws in place that make it illegal to storm the Capitol, right? So we don't need any more laws. That was just douchebags not following the rules, and they're being insurrectionary, but they were being insurrectionary bootlickers, right? It was like some weird simping for Trump kind of storm, and yeah, it sucks, and yeah, it's scary, but average person is not actually going to be affected by this. It just was really terrifying because you had a lot of politicians kind of they're sycophants, and they're sticking up for Trump, and they're blah blah blah, and they're insinuating violence, but a lot of this was just fucking pandering to Trump. And although it's scary and it's reeks of fascism, and it's been reeking of fascism for the past 4 or 5 years, yeah, but if we expand the police state, it is going to clamp down so freaking hard on the left that we just kind of have to bite the bullet on this one and actually be the bigger man and say, hey, we're not going to use the police state to crush you fucking fascists. We're not going to use the technocracy to censor you. And we just have to be the bigger person, because right now it's been this game where the left wants to censor the right, and then the right comes back and tries to censor the left, and we just kind of need to say, hey, this is bullshit, because we're the ones that are actually critical of neoliberalism. So we're the ones that are going to get the censorship the hardest. I also thought this was interesting. My friend shared this article from CNN. U.S. says Capitol rioters intended to capture and assassinate elected officials. Right? So they're saying the rioters, yeah, they actually were dangerous. They were going to capture and assassinate these guys, which is, of course, going to usher in new callings for a stronger police state. Well, here's the weird thing, though. When I actually clicked on the article, that's not the headline. The headline has since been changed, and now it says, U.S. takes back its assertion that Capitol rioters wanted to capture and assassinate officials. So they don't actually know, right? There's not actually a ton of evidence that they were actually planning on killing anyone. Maybe they were, and they were just really unorganized. Either way, we can't use this as a rallying call for an expanded police state, because that's what these dumb liberals do, right? They call to have this police state because they want to own Trump and all this shit. And, oh, we need to protect democracy. They fetishize the fuck out of protecting liberal democracy from fascism. Dude, it's all just neoliberal bullshit. Like, it's all like, Trump's not even fascist. Trump is just like the fascist fucking idiot side of neoliberalism, right? So people on the left know this, and that's why we don't fetishize saving democracy from fascism, because we already understand we don't have a direct democracy. We have more of like an oligarchical system. Fuck saving democracy from fascism, right? Let's focus on actually implementing a democracy in the first place. But now the article is basically saying that some of the evidence that we have for the insurrectionists actually planning to kidnap or murder someone is that the guy that led some in the crowd in the first wave into the Capitol had a bullhorn and a spear. So that's not actually good enough evidence that you're going to kill someone, because he's also wearing a fur headdress. So it was more of just like a LARPy kind of thing. I don't know for sure. This is my opinion. The prosecutors are actually trying to admit from their court filing that there is strong evidence that they were planning on capturing and assassinating elected officials. So they're actually backing off and saying, well, we actually can't really substantiate these claims. The other piece of evidence that, oh, they're doing something scary was the Air Force veteran with zip tie like restraints on the Senate floor. Well, yeah, I mean, and there's some people saying those weren't zip ties, those are actually more like handcuffs. Okay, sure, that's still technically not really enough evidence that you are going to kill politicians. Now, here's the thing. Even if it is evidence you're going to kill politicians, I, of course, still don't think we should vote for any measures to increase the police state, because we're going to be using the police state to crush fascism, and in doing so, we're going to be making the government more fascistic with more laws that we do not need. It was what they did was already illegal, so we don't need any more laws. Any more laws that we add are just going to come back on leftists and Muslims. So we need to just kind of leave it at what it is, and they're going to be charged. It's like anytime something happens in America, we're like, oh, we need more laws, we need to expand this, and we need to fix this. Dude, it's not like they're not going to be terrorists just because there's laws saying you can't be terrorists. There's already are laws saying that, right? So, no, increasing the police state is not going to help us at this time. In fact, it's really going to hurt the left. And I thought it was interesting. Somebody shared this on my post. It's tons of people right now talking about leftists getting censored on Facebook. And it's got to do with the inauguration, according to Facebook. So, yeah, which kind of makes sense since it was on my ban from posting in groups is up 3 days after the inauguration, or maybe the 23rd. Maybe that is the day of the inauguration. And she shared this meme. I felt a great disturbance in the force, as if millions of Facebook users suddenly were restricted from creating groups and events indefinitely. And now that's the scary thing, because about the inauguration, it's stupid that we were banned from talking in groups, because it's like leftists we weren't planning on protesting the inauguration, because we knew that if Joe Biden is president, it's going to suck. If Trump is president, it's going to suck, probably even more, but both of them are going to suck in equally likely measures, right? So, yeah, no, I don't know of any leftists that were actually planning on protesting the inauguration. We just figured it was going to suck, and some people are going to try to push him left, and some people aren't, but I don't know of anyone that was actually going to protest the inauguration. So it could have been something for they don't want us to be able to set up counter protests for when the right tries to do it. So does Facebook know something that we don't know? Do they know? Because Facebook is the one that's been banning all these posts and censoring them. They've been censoring the Stop the Steal. So this is my little conspiracy theory that I just thought of right now. There is a chance that right-wingers have already had like plans to do an actual protest on the inauguration date. Facebook knew about it and censored all the posts before a lot of us could even see it. And now they're trying to stop us from talking in groups so we can't plan a counter protest. So that is possible. But what is scary is that we're also restricted from creating groups and events indefinitely. So like even if you were to try to do like a march on Monsanto kind of protest, well, you might not be able to do that forever. Who knows at this point? Industrial workers of the world shared this. Electoralism will give us $600. Direct action will give us liberation. So my point with this is I don't see this as terrorism, but the point is that a lot of people do, because the way that we have it in a bourgeois liberal democracy is that we vote through representative democracy to get what we want. And direct action, as in like strikes and boycotting, protests, whatever you want to call it, that seems as terrorist compared to voting in an election. It doesn't to us, because us on the left, we know that voting can only take it so far, because a lot of us voted for AOC, and then she didn't even really do anything to force the vote with Nancy Pelosi. So a lot of us know, hey, bourgeois electoralism only goes so far. Sometimes we need that anarchist direct action to get shit done. But to other people, they just see direct action and they think, ooh, scary. And even to people that know what it means, still, it's, well, maybe they're going to plan a protest and it's going to be violent, so we have to crash down on it. My point is that I don't think that this shit is terrorism, but I'm just showing how when we say the right wingers are organizing a terrorist event, we want to censor them. Facebook is going to do the same exact thing to us. Somebody shared this meme, leftists who cheer on censorship of Trump. And ironically, this was posted in a group that has been talking for a while now about how we need to start getting alternative methods to Facebook because they're cracking down. And sure enough, those people were right. But when I first saw this meme, I was like, yeah, I think that is what's going to happen. But I didn't know for sure, right? It's like almost seemed kind of too on the nose. And a lot of people were saying that, yeah, no, this is stupid. Like people like Vosh were saying we need to be able to separate the two. Big tech, censorship, the technocracy, all that is bad. Surveillance capitalism is bad, but censoring Trump is good. And my point is you can't really separate the two, right? Even though like one is censor Trump and keep down violence and all that, it's not going to work that way. It's going to come back to bite us in the butt because they're going to try to advance some type of legislation or surveillance state, and it's going to come back down on the people that actually critique neoliberalism in the first place. And see here, somebody replied with this picture and they got 4 likes on it. And their rebuttal to this whole thing about how censoring Trump is actually going to come back to bite the left, their reply is that incitement to imminent lawless action is not protected by the First Amendment. But here's the thing, that is totally going to bite the left because what the Trump people did at Capitol Hill, it was pretty much violent. They're storming into a building. So kind of in that gray area of, yeah, it's insurrectionary, but they didn't necessarily hurt anyone. They kind of just hurt themselves, right? But the left has gotten in more trouble for shit that was not their fault at all, right? With Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they were getting just completely tased and obliterated with rubber bullets. And even though these more apparently violent Trump supporters, they were taking selfies with the cops. So we just see that when the police state has to make a choice, they only do what they absolutely have to do by their job description to stop right-wing terrorism, right? The FBI has to do something, right? But for the left, it's like they're ideologically inclined to crush the left because a lot of cops, I don't know, are there Marxist cops? I don't think so. I don't think an anarchist or a Marxist would work as a fucking cop. So we just have to get that through our mind that the police state is going to come and crush the left. And this precedent that it's incitement to imminent lawless action. Incitement, that's kind of a weasel word. We don't actually know. So the people on Capitol Hill, they're still seeing it as a gray area where, okay, he had handcuffs in his backpack and this one guy had a spear, but they walked back their statement that they were definitely going to hurt someone, right? They walked back that statement. For the left, they're so trigger happy, both metaphorically and literally, to just crush us down and say that we were about to commit violence. So if we had a leftist gathering and there were like Antifa people with masks, they would say, oh, they're wearing masks because they want to hide their identity because they want to commit violence. Now, if those people weren't wearing masks, oh, they're not wearing their masks, they're spreading COVID. Either way, they're going to find some reason to crush these left-wing protests. So the main points I want to get through are, number one, when we isolate and censor these Trump supporters, we're not deplatforming them, right? They're still going to find platforms. They're just going to find more centralized platforms where now it's just them isolated, becoming more and more radicalized. So we actually need to keep these dumbasses on Facebook and let's talk to them about it. And let's see if we can help de-radicalize them, because putting them all in the same room together is not a good idea. And especially when we censor them, we're making their argument for them, because their argument is basically that the left are a bunch of Marxist, communist, radical controllers who need to suppress them in order to enact their radical liberal agenda, right? Some nonsense like that. And now we go ahead and we censor them, then they can turn back around and say, see, we must defeat the commies at all costs because they want to take away our First Amendment right. So in a certain extent, we actually do need to let them talk, right? Or we're going to end up looking like the bullies. We're going to end up looking like the perpetuators of the police state. Now, point two is that, and this is the point that other people actually do usually make, police state is going to come back to hurt us. They're going to make up any excuse they can to say that we're being violent. And we're seeing this right now with Facebook stopping us from organizing, right? We can still post a meme of a cat on our timeline, but we can't organize in these leftist spaces as effectively. I can't post in groups right now for a week, and for an indefinite amount of time, I can't start groups or create events. And like a lot of my other leftist friends on Facebook are saying that right now. Anyways, thank you so much for checking this out. Please like, share, and subscribe to help me out. This is a new channel, but thank you. Leave a comment telling me what you think, if you agree, disagree. Peace out.